I am with Garrett Armfield and Kurt Holobaugh. This pay-per-view event goes down in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, May the 4th. So it's just a little over a week away, and it's going to be another banger of a fight card, guys. Before we dive into the fights and break them all down, I first want to start with the both of you and see where you're at with your careers. Obviously, Garrett, you've got a big fight announced. You got your wish. You're taking on Brady Houston June the 15th at the UFC Apex. Tell me, man, what are your initial thoughts when you think about this matchup?
Yeah, man, he's a good fighter, and we're preparing for the best. We're preparing for the best version of Brady, obviously. But more importantly, I'm more focused on becoming the best fighter I can be, and hopefully make my way to the top 15 one day, and then climb those rankings when I get there. So, but for right now, my mind and my eyes are set on Brady on June 15th. Brady's a great fighter. He does get dropped in every single fight, and I don't know if you guys have watched any of my fights. I definitely think I have an X factor with my striking, and so my plan is to get him out of there within 3 rounds and shut down his wrestling. So that's the plan. Make him pay on the in between exchanges, and really put the hurt on him.
Do you feel like this is going to be maybe your most difficult test in the UFC so far?
No, it is not. I've fought David Oname and Brad Katona, and I think those are both much tougher matchups than Brady Heinstein. Granted, Brady Heinstein can come with a smart game planning and get a win over me, but he's not my toughest matchup yet, and he's the least experienced fighter I've fought in the UFC so far. With that being said, I'm not taking him lightly whatsoever, and I'm training my ass off every single day, twice a day.
He is a grinder, right? Like he's a tough kid. He'll hang in there. He can make it into a long, grueling fight. Do you anticipate that? Do you think this is going to be maybe a little bit of a bloody war, getting into the end of the third round, maybe going the distance?
I think he's going to be diving at my ankles the entire fight. That's going to be his game plan. I know it 100%. Um, And I know I'm saying that with confidence just because, if you watch any of my fights, I've been able to really show my striking and my slick boxing against everybody I've fought. So even with Onama, I had moments of success on the feet. So I know it's going to be a tough fight, and he is a tough dude. He does come forward, and he does have heart. You watched out with that fight against Bacterial Dana or Dano Bacterial, however you say his name. I'm probably butchering it. But he in that fight, man, the judges or the commentators towards the end of the fight was like, "Oh, this is a learning lesson for Brady Heinstein, whatever. He definitely didn't win this fight." And then next thing you know, in the third round with 30 seconds left, he gets a TKO finish. I'm a different fighter than Dano Bacterial. I made it 3 rounds with Brad Katona, and I did get a little bit tired at the end, but that's honestly due to lack of experience going all 3 rounds. I definitely do believe now that I have the experience to go 3 rounds, and I'm not afraid of the unknown now. And now I know what it's like, and I'm excited to go out there and put on a war with him. Like I said, we are preparing for the best version of him, and I want it to be a dogfight. I want it to be bloody because I really want that 50K.
Mm. Well, one thing's for sure, Garrett. After your big win over Katona, I think the MMA world knows exactly who you are now, so they're going to be excited for this matchup with Brady. Kurt, great talking to you again. I appreciate you coming back. We just had you on the last show as we previewed UFC 300. Any fight news since then? Can you give us any updates, possibly, or maybe we can see you back in the octagon soon?
Yeah, nothing right now. Right after the last fight, a couple weeks ago, I reached straight out to my managers and I said, I don't want to take a 7 month layoff like I did for the last fight. I said, I'm still in shape. I'm not hurt. I'm ready to roll now. And I reached out and I said, what's the chances of getting on UFC 303? The Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler card. And he's like, well, never hurts to ask. So I'm like, all right, we'll see what we can do. Why not put some of the guys that was on the show on the card with the real finale? Finally they're gonna fight. Everything's signed and ready for that card. So I'm just waiting, man. Hopefully I'm staying in shape and hopefully we get a call and I'll jump back in there.
Yeah, that makes sense completely for you to get on that card. For one, that, and for two, I've watched you fight live, and you crack. I think you would do great in front of a crowd.
Yeah, man. And
You're an
that's the way
exciting
I like
fighter,
to feel
man.
on show, you know.
You're an exciting
Um,
fighter, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, so yeah, man, hopefully and hopefully I get a good matchup for that. I never asked for an easy fight, but I want a guy that's gonna fit my style. That's the type of fights I like. So we'll see what happens. See if the UFC will make it happen. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Maybe they put me on another card. I really don't care at the moment. I don't want a 7-month layoff like I did for the last fight.
Yeah, I would love to see you on the UFC 303 card, Connor Chandler. I can't wait. As I was telling you, Kurt, before we started the interview here, or the show, I guess, that's my birthday, June 29th. So that would be a great
Oh,
birthday
hell yeah.
present to watch you compete and hopefully get a win, get one back here after the last fight.
Yeah, that's my plan. That's my goal. Like I said before the show, either way, I'm gonna be in Vegas for the International Fight Week. If I don't have a fight, I'm already scheduled to compete at the IBJJF American Nationals with my wife and kids. So I'm going to Vegas and competing on the 29th regardless. So or whatever day I would compete on. I don't know exactly the day yet. I could compete Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday, Friday, I don't know. But yeah, man. Hopefully I get on the card. So see what happens.
Have you ever been to International Fight Week?
Yeah, I was actually there last week. Last year.
Yeah.
And it was funny because my wife competed, my kids competed, and they had just aired the first episode that I fought Lee Hammond. So when I showed up to International Fight Week, everybody already really knew me. And the thing about International Fight Week, and I didn't really expect it, but that's like the cream of the crop of the UFC fans. Like they know your lowest tier average UFC fighter. I had people coming up everywhere. And to me, that was a really cool thing because another good friend of mine, Brendan Allen, he was actually training with me when he was a kid, like 12 years old.
Oh, you know Brendan?
Yeah, he's from Louisiana.
I used to train with Brendan at Killcliff for a couple of years. You know Mike Rogers by chance?
Who's that?
From Mike Rogers out of St. Charles MMA.
I don't think so.
Because I know Brendan used to spend a little bit of time up there because he's somehow connected up there whenever he was like 16, 17, whatever. But that's awesome.
Yeah, but the cool thing for me is like me and Brendan, and I was young. I was 20 years old when I started training. Brendan was like 12 years old. And we were training in the same gym. So it was just cool for both of us to be there International Fight Week and together, and fans just everywhere you walk, fans come up, want a picture, want you to sign something. So it's pretty cool. So I'm expecting another pretty cool experience this year.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to book a flight.
I got to make it out to International Fight Week one of these years as well. It's an absolute. I mean, if you're an MMA fan, that's where you need to be. Everyone is there. Especially for all the fans to get to meet all the fighters, meet you guys. It's going to be a thrill for so many of them. But before we do transition here and we talk about UFC 301, we talked about, Connor Chandler. A lot of time has passed, maybe opinions have changed as to who you thought might win initially versus now. So let me just ask you both that. I know, Kurt, maybe your opinion could be, I don't know, a little jaded because of your relationship, but let me just start with you, right? Like what do you think we're going to see? If you look at this fight objectively, how's the outcome going to come?
Man, of course, I got to roll with my team Chandler coach, Michael Chandler. I just think that, and it's no secret, everybody knows that he's a hell of a hard worker, man, and definitely, I truly believe he's a much harder worker than Conor McGregor. Sometimes, we don't even know what Conor McGregor is still fighting for, right? So, with that, I'm going to go with Chandler, and I hope he can pull it out. I think he can. I think he's hungry. I think he's motivated. He put in the wait time for this. He didn't take any other fights. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to roll with Chandler. Garrett,
what are you thinking?
Missouri boy. So Chandler 100%, and I don't know. He and, Katona switched from Chandler to McGregor. Fuck that. I'm going Chandler 100%. And I agree with you. He is a hard ass worker. He was, and he wears it with pride at the gym at Echo Cliff, Sanford. Henry Hoof and Greg Jones under them. He takes pride in being a really hard worker, and he's a great leader. So I look up to him a lot, and so I really want him to get this win, and I'm excited for him to go get his bag.
Let me ask you guys both this too, real quick. This might be an obvious answer, but I think when Conor McGregor was at his peak, when he was knocking out Jose Aldo and 13 seconds or whatever it was, beating Eddie Alvarez and just really looking like he may have been the best pound for pound fighter in the world at one point. I think that mystique is gone, right? Like he's lost. There's a recipe out there to go and beat him. You've seen it a few times now. Is that mystique gone? Or is there still some sort of extra, I don't know, emotional charge or some sort of feeling that a fighter may get going in against fighting someone that's a megastar like Conor McGregor?
I think it's gone, to be honest with you. And I think Conor's kind of the definition that money can change you, because I mean the guy's got all the money in the world now. So, and that's what I was saying, does he still fight because he loves to fight? Because he's definitely not fighting for the money anymore, and sometimes, even earlier, I say early in my career, where fighting kind of wasn't fun anymore. And, I had to go back and be like, why do I really fight? I fight because it's fun. I don't really fight. Yeah, money's great. I love making money, but what got me into fighting in the first place? I was fighting for free as an amateur. So I was fighting because it was fun. I don't truly think that fighting's fun for Conor anymore. So, yeah, for that reason, I think he's lost it.
Garrett?
I think it's an ego thing, because, it's kind of like why he keeps coming back. Like Kurt said, he's got all the money in the world. He can retire today, never had to worry about a dime. He can just make money off his name. So that's accomplished. He won his titles. That's accomplished. He was the first double champ ever. That's all accomplished. So, theoretically, he doesn't have to fight anymore, and his name is up in the history books. But I think he just likes to have that ego, like we all do. Like that's a little bit of why we all fight, is because we like to be the man on fight night. And so, I think that's where it comes in too. And shit, I'm sure he's trying to push for that. I think it's crazy. First off, a little off topic, but he broke records on his Roadhouse movie. Like this man, just anything he touches turns to gold, and I think it needs to be studied. He needs to be put in a fucking lab and studied for about a year and see what made him so special. And I think what made him so special, other than the brash trash talking, was his fighting ability. And I think he's kind of lost that now because he's so distracted with who he was. He kind of forgot who he was. If that makes sense.
Well, one thing's for certain, he didn't spend a whole lot of time working to improve his ability as an actor before that Roadhouse movie. Because I don't know if either one of you saw it.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
It was not good. It was
I heard some good things. I heard it was pretty good.
The movie was fun. Like the premise was good. Jake Gyllenhaal was good.
Oh, yeah,
Connor's acting was not good. I mean, if I'm just gonna be honest, like it.
Yeah.
If I saw him in person and he asked me, I'd tell him, "Oh yeah, it was great. You did a great job." But
yeah, of course.
I'm not here right now, so I'm just gonna say it like it is.
If you don't.
Let's transition, guys. UFC 301 again, May 4th. It's in Brazil. It's headlined by the flyweight title. Alexandre Pantoja defends his belt against Steve Erceg. Right now, Erceg is a fairly decent dog, plus 210, plus 200, depending on what site you're betting at. Pantoja's minus 230. Kurt, let me start with you here on this one. I'm really intrigued about who's going to win this main event title fight. I just interviewed Steve Erceg, and he's extremely confident. This is only his fourth fight in the UFC. He hasn't even been in the UFC for a year yet, and here he is fighting for a title. Does he get it done? Does he get his hand raised here on May the 4th?
So I remember watching Erceg on his UFC debut, and I remember saying, "Damn, this dude's, man, he's pretty good," And then he went on to win a couple more fights, and then even in his last fight, I think that's when he fought Matt Snell, which is another good friend of mine from Louisiana. And I was still really high when they gave him the title shot. I'm thinking, man, that's he could probably get it done. He's one of those guys, kind of like what we was talking about when Conor McGregor jumped on the scene. Is he one of those guys that just kind of has that star power, or that true luck that he's getting the right matchups and moving up the ladder? And for him to get this fight for a title, and like after only 4 fights, is pretty crazy. But did he jump too high too soon? And I'm going to take Pantoja for that reason.
Garrett, what do you think when you look at this matchup?
I'm taking Pantoja. Just, I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's unwarranted that he's getting a title shot. He's only 3-0 in the UFC. And that doesn't take anything away from him, but there's other guys that are much more I'm gonna say like deserving. Like if you're gonna give him a title shot, but not give Muhammad Mokavov a title shot, but again, that's again with connections and it's how the UFC decides what they want to do, and that's fine. And I hope he can go out and get it done. I always love rooting for the underdog, and it would be cool to kind of shake up the flyweight scene. But I'm a big fan of Alexandre Pantoja, especially just his whole story, and he comes from nothing, and I just love that about him. So, and I'm sure Steven, all of us come from not much. That's why we fight, right? If we came from, just how it is. Um, but Pantoja is just a stud, man. He's so good, and he's battle tested. He's gone 5 rounds multiple times, and if I don't know if you watched his last fight, the pace they set was at Royval. Holy shit! In the 5th round, they're slinging leather like it's like the first round. So, yeah, gonna go Pantoja.
I will say this: Erceg's knockout of Schnell was vicious. He put him out cold. And I saw Luke Thomas, I think it was, he was questioning, does Steve Erceg maybe have the best boxing in the UFC? Talk about a huge compliment to even consider someone in that discussion for the best boxing in the UFC. So I'm just really interested stylistically how this fight plays out. If it does stay on the feet, I feel like I'm leaning towards Erceg, but if Pantoja is able to mix it up, because I feel like where he's most dangerous is his jiu-jitsu. If he's able to get Erceg's back, like that could be problematic for him. But stylistically, that's what I'm most interested to see is where the fight takes place, on the feet or on the ground. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I agree with you. But it's hard to look because I haven't seen much of his ground grappling at all. But from looking at his record, he's got a lot of finishes by submission. Granted, that was in Australia on the regional scene, but I think Pantoja wins all around.
Yeah, I think Erceg's got a legit ground game, to be honest with you. I mean, his first couple fights, I can't remember exactly how they went, but I think it was a little bit of ground fighting in that too. But I will say, man, I thought before he started picking it up a little bit on Matt Schnell, but Matt Schnell was touching him a little bit on the feet too. So, but like Garrett said, man, the pace that Pantoja is going to set, I don't know. He's going to have to be ready to go at that pace for all 5 rounds.
All right, so you guys are both.
Sorry, do you know how I discovered Matt Schnell? Was I think what episode he had some reality TV show that he was on MTV.
Yep, I remember when they was doing that. It was called Cage, I believe.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yep, I had a couple of teammates actually fight on that show. They didn't get featured on like the main character, but I want to say my guys fought some of the guys on. I don't think he fought Danger, but that's kind of how I met Danger, and some of those other guys was just from that reality show they did, Cage.
That show's cool.
Yeah, man.
They need to do that again.
He's been around for quite a long time. So you guys are both going Pantoja. Give me an official prediction. Garrett, does he get it done via finish or does he win a decision?
Decision.
Kurt?
I'm going to say decision as well.
Okay, well, that's the main event. For what it's worth, I'm going the other way. Maybe I'm being a homer because I just talked to Erceg, so I'm kind of rooting for the guy, I guess. Erceg via knockout, 4th round knockout. Oh, yeah. He wears him down and clips him as it gets into championship rounds. The co-main event, guys, I'm equally as excited about. This is going to be a firefight. Jose Aldo coming out of retirement at 37 years old to take on Jonathan Martinez, who's on quite a streak. Martinez is your favorite, -130. Jose Aldo, the legend, the former champ, is the dog, +110. Garrett, let me start with you here first on this one, man. What are we going to see in this co-main event fight?
Man, dude, I can't ever pick against Jose Aldo. I love him. I'm going Jose Aldo. I respect the hell of Jonathan Martinez, and he should be the favorite in the fight. He's like in his athletic prime. Jose Aldo is, you know how it is at like bantamweight. You know, the first thing that you lose is speed, and was a big thing was Jose Aldo's speed. But I think it's going to be a battle of the leg kicks, and I think that's going to set the tone for this fight. Man, it's an interesting fight. I kind of wish they didn't give Jose Aldo Jonathan Martinez, just because I'm a big fan of both. Um, there's better, I'm not ever going to count Jose Aldo out, so I'm not going to say there's better fights for Jose Aldo, but there's better fights to come back to.
Yeah, you mentioned the leg kicks. Kurt, let me ask you this. You remember Aldo and oh my God, I don't know why I'm blank. Uriah Faber, when
Yeah,
he leg kicked the crap out of Uriah Faber to a stoppage. Was that more vicious than what Martinez just did to Adrian Yanez?
I think so. I think so because I remember that fight. That was back in the WEC days with Uriah Faber and Jose Aldo. But man, like Faber's corner was literally having to carry him back to the stool after the rounds because he just couldn't walk. So I
that's
still
great.
go out on a limb and say that's more vicious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just goes to show you like the matchmaking for this fight really interesting because both of these guys, amongst the many of other reasons, but they're known for their leg kicks. I mean, Aldo, historically speaking, and Martinez as of late. With all of that said, Kurt, where are you leaning here in this co-main event?
Man, I like Martinez and I'm a big fan, but what gets me in trouble a lot on my fight picks, and this is why I don't think I do very well on fight picks. I always pick with my heart, but I got to go with
Yeah,
my heart with
same.
this one. I got to go with Jose Aldo. So, yeah, man, I'm gonna go with Aldo.
Going with Aldo. I get it. I really do. I mean, the guy's a legend. Anyone that likes the sport, I mean, you can't help but love his fighting style. I just feel like, Martinez is catching him at the right time. I mean, you look at some of his
Yeah,
wins. He's beat Vince Morales, Cub Swanson, Syed Nurmagomedov, most recently Adrian Yanez. And he's much younger. Let me just check how old he is here. He's
like 30.
he's only 30. He's 30, so he's 7 years younger than Aldo. And I think that's going to play a big factor. Kurt, do you think that the layoff, Aldo, retiring, not fighting in the UFC for a while, is that going to play a factor?
Hopefully not. I mean, he still kind of stayed busy. I think he did a couple boxing matches and stuff like that. I don't think he fought MMA outside the
Mhm.
UFC, but I know he was pretty busy in boxing, which is, of course, different. But hopefully it doesn't. I've had times where I felt like my long layoffs going on to the Ultimate Fighter. I didn't fight for almost 2 years. That first fight was the first time I ever said, well, I think there might be a such thing called ring rust. And then I've had times where I was out for a year and a half, and I go back and get a first round knockout. So hopefully not.
Garrett, what do you think we're going to see from him as far as ring rust, cage rust? Is that a thing? Do you think Aldo's going to experience it in this fight?
I believe in cage rust until you get punched in the face once, and then it goes away. Fighting's a natural instinct for a lot of us, and I think Kurt can agree with me on that. Fighters are fighters, and it doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter if it's like in the street or if it's in the UFC cage. If somebody comes to fight you, you know what you're doing, and you got that natural killer instinct. And Jose Aldo does. He's got 40 fights. He's not going to forget how to fight.
Yeah, can't wait for this one, guys. Well, so both of you are on the same page again, and I'm going the opposite direction. So I guess I'm the outlier here so far. We'll see
You're
if that
picking with your brain, bro. We're picking with our heart.
Yeah.
we'll see if that trend continues. Let's move to Anthony Smith, Vitor Petrino. Massive favorite here in Petrino. Minus 450 is what I'm seeing right now. Anthony Lionheart Smith plus 350 as the underdog. Garrett, let me ask you first. Can Anthony Smith get it done? Obviously he can, but he's a big underdog here. Does he get it done?
I'm not picking my heart on this one. I got to go Victor Petrino. I'm looking at his record right now. He's 4-0 in the UFC with 2 finishes against some damn good dudes. Yeah, man. And, but then again, Anthony Smith, they call him Lionheart for a reason. So he can get it done, but I'm going with the latter, or I guess the Petrino, however you say that term.
Yep. Petrino. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a safe bet. I mean, what do you think, Kurt? Is Anthony Smith, is he too old now to compete with some of these young guys? Or, is the old lion going to get a win here?
Yeah. I don't think he's too old to compete with some of the guys, but I think it's Anthony Smith. He'll come out and he'll look amazing in one fight, and then he looks like he falls off the horse in the next fight.
Yeah.
So kind of the same with Garrett. Gonna pick on my brain on this one and take Petrino. Um, just for the fact that I don't think Anthony Smith has looked very good in his last couple fights.
Okay. I so want to go with Petrino as well, and I probably will, but I will say this. If you look at the level of competition that Anthony Smith has been fighting, it's
Yeah.
vastly different than the what you can say for Petrino. I mean, he got into the third round with Khalil Roundtree, who's one of the hardest punchers in the UFC. That guy hits like an absolute tank. Johnny Walker, he went the distance with him. Magomed Ankalaev, and he's got some wins over Devin Clark, Jimmy Crute, and Ryan Spann before that. So the level of competition and just who he's been in there with. Anthony Smith has fought at a higher level. So that's what I'm really intrigued to see here. I think we'll find out just how good Vitor Petrino is. He's undefeated now, but he's never fought someone I feel like as well-rounded, as much of a veteran and as dangerous as Anthony Smith is. So interesting fight there. That really, could be circled, maybe fight of the night, but yeah, Petrino, Smith. We'll keep it moving, guys. Michel Pereira, Igor Potiera. Michel Pereira is a pretty sizable favorite here, minus 400. Potiera is plus 300. Kurt, let me start with you here first here, bud. What do you think we're going to see here in this one?
I think you're going to see another crazy Pereira fight. The way that dude fights is just insane. And I'm going to pick him as long as he don't do crazy stuff and gas down in the fight.
Yeah, he does. He does some wild stuff in the cage. I don't know if there's anyone that you could compare him to.
Cartwheels.
Yeah. Is there anyone like him in the UFC?
No, not that I can think of off the top of my head.
No, not a single person.
Yeah.
The stuff he does, I'm like, man, like who can get out there and do backflips off the cage, jumps off the cage, and just keeps doing it. But I mean, that's kind of cost him some fights in the past because I feel like he gassed down a little bit just from doing all that nonsense. But super exciting fighter and talented, man. I think he definitely gets the job done. But he's a fun guy to watch.
All right, Garrett, what do you think we're going to see here in this middleweight bout? Potiera, 21-5. I mean, this is a legit up and comer. Does he get it done? Does he beat Michel Pereira?
No, he does not. He does not beat him. I mean, for one, it's short notice, man. For two, Michel Pereira's a dog. He's fought really tough dudes, and he wins while like doing all his antics and whatever gets people to watch him. And Patera's got, he gets finished quite a bit in the UFC so far. He's been finished all 3 times, so that he's lost. So I think Pereira gets it done by finish.
Okay, interesting fight here. I'm going to go out on a limb, and if I'm a betting guy, well, I am a betting guy. You guys can't bet on the fights because you're active UFC fighters. So you get in a lot of trouble, so you can't bet, but I am, and I'm going to actually put some money down on Potiera to get this upset because I like the odds. Like you said, Kurt, Pereira does a lot of things that can get himself into trouble. He takes some risks. He does some real unorthodox stuff, and I just feel like for plus 300. That's a good underdog that, potentially, could cash out. So I'm going that way. Does he win? I don't know. Maybe not, but I'm going to throw some money down and hope it hits there. Kai Barajo and Paul Craig, another interesting fight here. Barajo, another big favorite, minus 450. Paul Craig, the submission specialist, plus 350 as an underdog. Garrett, I actually thought this fight was going to be a little bit closer as far as the odds go. What do you think about this one?
Well, I think Baracho's a really cool dude. I fought on the same card as him as my debut. So personally, I think he's just a cool dude. Like he was really nice to me, and he didn't big time me or anything like that. So I got a lot of respect for him. And I feel like Paul Craig, he's like kind of like who he is on fight night type of fighter. I respect the hell out of him. He's a hell of a fighter too, but we'll see because it's like a similar matchup to the Brendan Allen fight, a ground specialist, and he's a ground specialist though. So that's the thing. He's a ground specialist, right? Paul Craig.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like he does like a lot of cool things, right? I'm gonna go Kyle Baralo, but still, just gotta point out there that Jamal Hill finish is the nastiest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Whenever he had his arm broken, and was flopping around in his triangle choke, I wanted to throw up there. I almost quit at that point. said, fuck that. I'm gonna go play patty cake.
It's a dangerous game. We all know that. Kurt, what
Yeah.
do you think we're going to see in this one? Does Paul Craig spring the upset? Oh, did we lose him? You frozen?
No,
Can you hear
I'm
me?
back. Yep, I'm good.
Yeah. What do you got in this fight? Does Paul Craig spring the upset, or are you going with Kai?
So Braulio, is that the one with the Brazilian guy with the tattoo on his neck?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that dude, man. I've been
Yeah.
watching him for a
He's
while.
good.
He's fun to watch, man. I like Paul Craig too, but I'm gonna go with, it was it say like freak or something on his neck.
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't know what it says, but he has got that big tattoo that goes right across here.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with that guy.
Oh, it says free spirit.
Free
Which
spirit.
Free
is fucking
spirit, okay. Yeah, free
gang.
spirit.
And he's got a tattoo on
Yeah.
his arm that says fight or die. That's fucking
Yeah, I'm
cool.
gonna go with him. Which, man, what is his record in the UFC? I want to say I haven't seen him lose.
He's 5-0 in the UFC.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
honestly, much like the Anthony Smith Vitor Petrino fight, this is another one that I'm intrigued about because Paul Craig, another guy that's a veteran, he's been in there with the best of the best, really. And you can't really say that about Kai. He's more of the up and comer, the new guy. So again, from a stylistic standpoint, from a like someone who's a veteran, this is an interesting test for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, definitely. But I don't know. I like watching Braulio fight, and I think it's gonna be tough. Who knows how Paul Craig's gonna react coming off of that loss to Brennan? So we'll see.
Okay. Official prediction, Kurt. Does he get him out of there? Or is this going to be a hard fought decision win?
I think he gets him out of there.
Garrett?
Decision. It needs to be a decision win.
All right.
I really hope it's not a boring fight.
Yeah,
I really hope it's an exciting fight.
I think it will be. I definitely think this will be fireworks. That does it for the main card. So let's transition to the prelims, guys. Right now, it looks like Drakkar Klose and Joaquim Silva is the featured prelim. And Klose is the favorite, -190, Silva +165. And Klose is coming off a big win, beating Joe Solecki. He knocked him out in the first round, his last time out. Does he keep that momentum going, Garrett? Does Drakkar win this fight, or are you going the other way and going with Silva?
I'm sorry. Let me pull up Joaquim Silva real quick. Yeah. I mean, he's got it. I think Drakkar Klose wins, but I think he's got a great chance to get this win done. You know, I'm going Drakkar Klose just because I feel like he's a good lock. He competes well, and he always shows up to fight. But at the same time, like this man, he's finished some good fighters. You know, he got Jared Gordon out of there, and I'm a big fan of Jared Gordon. So I can never count against a guy that finishes him. So I'm feeling Drakkar Klose though. He's been in the UFC a long ass time, man.
Yeah, he's been around for quite a while now. And Silva's a veteran too. Kurt, Silva's last fight was against Clay Guida, and Guida had him in a little bit of trouble in that fight, but overall, it was a really good performance by Silva. Can he replicate that against someone like Klose, who I guess is known for his wrestling, but also is a good stand-up fighter as well?
Yeah, I actually remember watching that fight with Guida and Silva, but I like the Klose. I've been watching for a long time, man. I remember I watched him live years ago. So I don't know. That's a tough one to call, but I'll go with Drakkar.
Going to car. Okay. Well, I think all three of us are in agreement on this one. We'll keep it moving. Jack Shore, Joe Anderson, Brito. This one, thankfully, a little bit closer in the odds. Jack Shore +145. Brito, your favorite, -170. Kurt, what are we going to see here in this fight? Who are you leaning?
Man, I like Jack Shore. To be honest with you, I'm pretty. That's a Welsh guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's a Welsh guy. Not sure if he's from Brett John's camp or not, but yeah, I like Jack Shore, and dude comes to scrap, so I'll take him.
Yeah, both of these guys have great records. Jack Shore 17-1, Brito 16-3-1. Garrett, are you in agreement with Kurt? Are you leaning Jack, or do you think Brito gets it done?
No, I'm going Jack Shore. He's really good. You know, he's battle tested. He's only losses against that was against Ricky Simone. Right? So I'm going him. Hey Kurt, are you on a side by side right now? That's so badass,
Yeah,
bro. I fucking
yeah.
I fucking love those.
I'm just chilling in my garage, man. Easy day for me, just hanging out at the house.
That's what's up, man. I flipped a side by side once.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't flipped this one yet, but
Yeah, exactly. You're
hopefully
not
I
riding
don't.
it hard enough.
how fast have you got it, Kurt?
It only goes about 50 miles an hour. This one does. I've taken it to the creek by my house a couple times, man. I'll max it out all the way.
I
You
think
say
I've
on the. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna ask. Like, I think I've asked you this before, way in the past when I interviewed you like forever ago. But do you have to worry about like poisonous snakes and seeing them hanging from trees and shit? Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. I haven't seen poisonous snakes around my yard, thank God. There's some little mean snakes, and I don't know what kind they are, but they are very mean. And I've killed a couple of them, but then I'm like, man, I need to stop killing these snakes. They might be the reason I don't have all the copperheads and water moccasins out here. But yeah, like in the
Yeah.
creeks and stuff, man, that's one of my favorite things to do is to fish in the creek. And I'll
Oh yeah.
walk miles down these creeks and I'll battle snakes, boars, and all kind of crazy coyotes. But
That's some
yeah,
BM shit.
definitely we got some poisonous snakes out here for sure.
wait a second. So you'll actually come in contact with coyotes because we have coyotes up in Maine where I'm at, and if they hear you, they even catch your scent. They're gone. They don't want anything to do with you.
Man, so look, true story. Me and my son was fishing, and we was actually in our kayaks right down the road from my house. Nice little
Look,
spot in the creek. It's kind of open under the bridge. Put our kayak in. I start going a little bit, and I'm fishing, and I see look like the freaking werewolf off of Twilight come walking across, and dude, I'm like, holy shit!
are you Team Jacob? Or
Oh
you
my
Team
God.
Edward?
Dude, I thought he was like the transform or something, but it was huge, and that, by far the biggest coyote werewolf looking thing I've ever seen in my life.
So what happened? Where did he go? Like, did you?
Oh, it just
He's on
kept
the
on
fucking
going. I
mantle.
didn't say nothing.
He's on the wall.
Damn.
Yeah.
The scariest moment that I've had out in the Maine woods, I used to do boundary line work with a buddy of mine that owns his own company, and we were on a snowmobile, and we were heading, miles into the woods in the middle of nowhere. And we're coming around this corner, and we spooked this giant bull moose that's sleeping right in the middle of the trail. And he got up and he turned around, and he was pissed. And I thought for sure that he was going to charge us. And we didn't have any guns with us. We were just out doing a job. We didn't think we were going to run into anything. Well, that right there changed my thought process on ever going out into the woods again and not having a weapon because my heart was going a million miles an hour. I mean, I don't know if either one of you have come close to seeing a bull moose in person.
No, they're
It's
huge. I heard.
enormous.
Well, they charge you, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
A moose will charge you,
They'll
yeah.
trample you to death if they're in like rut season or whatever. It's scary stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I haven't had any. Good thing like in Missouri, like my dad's a huge hunter, so I always go with him. But we never. It's Missouri's pretty tame with the animals. We'll get black bears and shit, but other than that, there are no. There's the worst thing you're gonna see is a coyote or a bobcat. But other than that, there is no fucking moose. There's not a lot of snakes, and yeah. So I think we're kind of lucky out here.
Yeah. Maine is beautiful. You guys would like Maine. I
I
think
love Maine.
yeah. You've been up to Maine. Kurt, have you ever been to Maine?
Never been to Maine, but it's definitely my wife's like dream place to go because she wants to freaking see the lighthouse and stuff. So I'm sure we'll make it there one day.
You let me know, man. You let me know. I'll meet you somewhere and I'll show you guys around. I've lived here most of
For
my
sure.
life, so I know all the spots. But
Have you ever had maple syrup from anywhere else other than Maine? Like, can you compare?
honestly I couldn't compare. I'm not sure. I'm not a big maple syrup guy.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. I heard
but
it's great. I heard that's like where Maine does, right? Is a lot of maple syrup.
and lobster.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, lobster.
Yeah.
I fucking love lobster. I
Oh
love
yeah.
lobster. It ain't good in Missouri. We have crawdads out here. Fucking Louisiana's got some good ass crawdads though, I bet.
Yep, man. In this crawdad season, we call
Oh,
them
is it?
crawfish.
You catch them?
But what's that?
Do you catch them? Because they swim
I don't
backwards.
catch them, but I mean, there's nowhere really around here. I'd have to go a couple hours away. Like where Dustin Poirier's from out in Lafayette, that's where they got
Yeah.
a lot of the crawfish ponds and stuff like that. I mean, I could probably go down to, the river Man Shack is what it's called down here and catch some, but I never go out catch them. I just buy them and throw them in my pot and boil them.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, a lobster roll up here in Maine is like the thing. People come up from all over the country, really, and if you get on the coast, if you get near water and you have a lobster roll, oh my God, it'll blow your socks off. They're amazing.
Hell yeah. I love lobster.
Yeah. Well, we can continue to talk food all day, I'm sure, guys.
Yep.
There's a couple fights left I want to continue to get your thoughts on. Ismail Bonfim and Vince Pichel. This is going to be a fun one. Vince Pichel 14-3. Bonfim is 19-4. So both of these guys have been around for quite a while. And Bonfim is a massive favorite, minus 450. And that's surprising to me because, Pichel is a veteran, tough guy. He's durable. He's a plus 350 dog. Kurt, does that seem accurate to you, or do you feel like this should be a little bit closer?
I think it should definitely be closer. Vince Pichel is a guy that I've actually studied real well because I thought I was going to fight him before I wind up fighting Trey. So I actually studied him a lot, and I mean, man, he's solid. He's got a good record. So I think the odds should definitely be a little bit closer.
Who are you going with? Do you still think that Pichel's going to lose the fight?
I don't know, man. That's one thing about fighting though, is like that's why it's so hard to pick because you just never know what's gonna happen. It's a fight, right? You just never know. Anybody can win on any given night. I'm gonna take Vince Pichel just for being so big of an underdog. I don't think the odds should be that far apart. I think he's been out of action for a little while though, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Pichel's last fight was actually in 2022 against Mark Madsen, a UD loss. He's had 3 fights canceled since then. One of them was against Benoit Saint Denis and Ismail Bonfim. So he's been in action for a while. Garrett, what do you feel about this matchup? Do you think Pichel can spring the upset, or are you going with the big favorite in Bonfim?
Oh, I'm going Pichel for sure. Yeah, I'm going him. He's a Don Fry looking motherfucker, and I think he's cool as hell. I met him too. Badass dude. I like him. Also, I feel like I don't know if I kind of read into things too much, but I think there's like something to be said about missing weight by 5 pounds when you're originally supposed to meet. Something must have went wrong. I don't know. So I'm going Vince Pichel. I'm going the veteran.
All right. So that pick right there, if someone was going to throw some money down, they could win a nice chunk of change because Pichel's a pretty sizable underdog here. One more fight I want to get your take on, guys. I told you we'd be here for half an hour, and it's been an hour, but the conversation's been great. So it's flown right by. I can't believe it's already almost been an hour. It's another lightweight bout. Jamie Mullarkey, Mauricio Ruffy. Kurt, this is your division, so let me ask you first. Jamie Mullarkey, 17-7. Ruffy is more of the newcomer, 9-1. Any analysis on this fight?
Yeah, I don't really know much about Ruffy. I think this might be the first time we're hearing his name. Haven't really looked him up or anything, but of course, I keep my eye on everybody in the lightweight division. And Mullarkey is definitely a guy that I've looked at a bunch of times, seen his skill set. It's pretty solid. So I don't know much about the other guys. So I'm gonna go with Mullarkey and see what happens.
Yeah, this is actually his UFC debut. He had a round 3 win at Contender Series last year against Raimad Magomedov. Oh, where's John Anik when you need him? This I've never even I don't even know how to pronounce that name. I'm not even going to try. Garrett, what do you think we're going to see here in this one? Do you feel like Mullarkey gets his hand raised?
No, I don't think so. I think that he's kind of got trouble with like striking specialists, and it looks like the Mauricio Ruffy guy is a striking specialist. I think I've like literally bet against every single or chose opposite of every single Iridium guy. So I apologize for that to you, to Jason House, to all of you guys. I want everybody to win some money, but I just see Mauricio Ruffy getting it done.
Yeah, he is a striking specialist. He's got quite a few victories with 9 TKO or KO victories.
Yeah.
So yeah, the guy's dangerous on the feet. Well, we know Mullarkey likes to strike too, so this could be a knockout early on. If you're gonna place a prop bet, maybe this is when you do that on.
Yeah, I think this might be a this got 5 in the night potential on it.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, again, guys, we appreciate the time here today. UFC 301. It's going to be another fun pay-per-view card, May the 4th from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And of course, the main event is for the flyweight title, Steve Erceg and Alexandre Pantoja. Looks like we just lost Garrett. But Kurt, before we do close up shop here, I want to kick it over to you, man. If there's anything you want to plug here today, or any shout outs you want to give, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Fun fight card back in Brazil. I actually had the chance to fight on that card a couple years ago when I fought Thiago Moises. So Brazil is a cool place, man. Looking forward to a fun night of fights. Definitely gonna be good. Enjoy doing the show with you. Yeah, man. Just thank you to all the fans. Like I said before, man, I'm gonna be out at UFC Fan Expo in Vegas, whether I'm fighting on the card with Michael Chandler and Connor or not. I'll be there. So if anybody sees me, wants to come up, say hey, I'll be there.
Awesome, my man. Well, again, I always appreciate you. Too bad we lost Garrett. I think it was fun having the both of you on the show today. Clearly, some mutual respect with one another. So hopefully, we'll have you both back again down the line. But definitely, Kurt, it's always a pleasure. Enjoy the fights, and we'll talk again soon.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me on.